Let's focus for a while on the renegade Zeta Reticulans. The agenda of the gray-skinned Zeta Reticulans.
Okay. Number one, I would like to say that, there's a lot of confusion that not all reticulans are evil. There are some reticulans that are incredible healers, that are incredibly benevolent. Unfortunately, most of them are getting a bad rap right now because of what the grays are doing. And there are 5 different subspecies of grays.
May I interject here for a moment? I've heard the phrase long-nosed gray describing their physical characteristics.
Those are not the benevolent reticulans.
Okay.
The benevolent reticulans look like children.
So the non-benevolent ones are the long-nosed grays?
That's correct.
That's what I thought.
That's correct.
Okay.
And there's a lot of information that's being. Some people are experiencing real benevolent experiences with them, or they're told that they're experiencing benevolent, when in fact they really haven't. They just maybe haven't been regressed or taken deeply into their subconscious to know what is happening. They're incredible masters of mind manipulation. But anyway, their race is dying. They have been so genetically altered by the Orion group that they cannot reproduce. So they were told by the Orion group to come in here, this is how it's been related to me, to come in here and set the stage to break down the social structures so that when the Orion group and the Draconans come back, there are 2 classes, royalty and workers, which is exactly what they're doing.
You can see that agenda happening right in the United States since the beginning of the Reagan administration.
This is where the focus has been. It's been on the United States, singly. And there's been a reason for that, which we'll cover in just a little bit, but let me get my thoughts out here. Which is exactly what the Greys have been told to do. And they're doing it. In the meantime, they themselves have their own agenda. They see us, because of our genetic stock, of having the DNA of 22 different races, and the racial memories, of trying to breed, to cross the genetic bridge, so that they as a race can have enough genetic stock to continue to propagate their race, which according to the Andromedans, they're destined for extinction. What they're doing is not going to have any long-term effects to propagate their race. So they're desperately trying to do what it is that they're trying to do before all the other 2 groups get here. The Greys also themselves want to be free from the manipulation of the Orion group, just like we as a race want to be free of their manipulation. So there's this incredible triangle of crap that's hanging all over us, and all these hidden agendas and just brainwashing and bizarre belief systems that are being thrown at us, when they should all leave. Not only the good ones and the bad ones, they should all just leave and leave us alone, which is ultimately what the Andromedans want. But unfortunately, that isn't going to happen right now, not until some changes occur.
We have to begin to raise our consciousness.
Right, we need to.
Right.
And the first thing we need to do is we need to stop warring with each other. We need to come together as a race, and no matter what happens, we need to stop all of the political garbage and say, look, when it comes down to the bottom line, all we have is each other as a race. Period. And this is our planet, this is our home, and there's enough of us that are polluting the planet that we need to stop. Because if we don't stop polluting the planet, Rick, we're not going to have a place to live. Period.
Is there an Earth quarantine that the renegade Zeta Reticulans violated?
Yes.
And what was that quarantine?
The quarantine was they were supposed to, well, it's the same quarantine that evolves, that any other evolving planet has. No intervention with an evolving race. But because of our genetic stock, the Greys did it. Now, but they did it in such a way that they didn't totally violate our free will. They dangled a technological carrot to the government. And the government took the bait. They said, sure, for their own reasons, they took the bait. And there was an exchange of technology. And there was a treaty that was signed. And this is a dilemma that the Andromedan Council has. If the United States military had said, go away, the Greys would have had to have left.
So was this the Air Force Base situation or the Eisenhower situation where he had representatives? Is this the one that took place in the 50s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and this was with the long-nosed grays then?
That's true, and there were two groups there as well. The 7 from Sirius B who are still here were also witnesses to this, to add credence to it.
Okay.
So,
now,
and there are also, now just to add to this, the Andromedans have also said that in 1933, when the Greys really first got here, that they had actually approached the Germans, and the Germans said, no, you're out of here. We already have an agreement, and apparently the Germans were in touch with Giza intelligence. So the Greys left. They didn't pursue it at all. And they found their next opening here in the United States.
Let's go digress just a moment. You mentioned Sirius B. They have a relationship with the Dogon tribes in Africa, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, I understand that there is some ancestral genetic connection there.
Okay. And does that play a part in what's going on here on a global level, or is that just a kind of a minor sidelight of information?
I don't think at this point they give a damn about the Dogons or the humans at all. They all have their own agendas. And the fact that the way we're being treated, and the fact that there's like no supportal information coming out of our government, or any truth that they even want to discuss, like just coming to the people and saying, look folks, we screwed up. We need your help. We need to raise a consciousness and start implementing. The fact that they don't even want to do that, tells you really, where they're at. What I do know about the Syrians is that between Sirius A and Sirius B, there is a civil war going on there. And a lot of that, and there are also 21 other systems. There's war going on in Perseus as we speak. And 21 other star systems are also looking at the potential. And it has to do with the fact that there is now an uplifting of energy in our universe that's occurring. And the two positives, fear and love, are just banging themselves at each other. And the intensity is growing every single moment. And we're just a microcosm of that.
Now, as you're disseminating all this information to us, we should look at all this information in the spirit of love, so we don't feed any energy into the spirit of fear.
Love is the answer. That's the bottom line. Love is the answer. Love does conquer all. Love does move mountains. It can make the shifts in consciousness, but it starts number one with ourselves.
So
that's
even
where
all this is going on around us, we just need to remember to focus on love and
love of self and love of earth, love of race. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, when did the Zeta Reticulans begin to create their genetic atrocities? Where did this take place on Earth, and what have the results been?
Well, it's occurring everywhere. Much of it is occurring underground. Some of it's occurring in the oceans. Some of it's occurring on the moon. Some of it's occurring on Phobos, the moon of Mars. It's happening in a lot of different places.
Is that an artificial moon?
Yes, it's absolutely. So's our moon. Our moon's artificial, completely artificial. It was brought here from Ursa Minor, apparently between 11 and 12,000 years ago.
For the purpose of?
Of being a satellite and a base, which they evacuated some time ago, but it's now being operational again. And I covered this in the series of 8. It came from a star system called Chata. That's for a word. That's the word they use, Chata. And it was the 17th planet out of a solar system that had 21 planets, and it was one of 4 moons. And it was brought here. It is older than the Earth. There are ruins all over it. There are bases underneath it. It's everything that we're told it isn't. So that's a whole unique story unto itself.
Okay, now what are the results of these atrocities, these genetic atrocities, been, and are we going to begin to see more of them appearing?
Well, the Greys are trying to create a sub-race that is a blend between human culture, the human race, and their race.
A kind of a hybrid zip.
Exactly. They're not being very, very successful. And one of the things that they're trying to do is they're really looking for the soul. They don't understand the soul. They don't understand our extremes of emotions as well, because they're very, very different from us. There's experiments haven't been all that successful. There are a lot of emotional problems with that, with their, because what really makes a human being is our essence, is the spirit that animates the physical form. Well, there's also another factor, and that is that they actually feed off the energy. They're vampires.
The Zeta Reticuli Greys.
The Greys, right. They're vampires.
Is this where we get our vampire legends? A lot of our vampire legends?
I don't know about that. I don't know if that has to do with it. I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. But they feed off the energy. They can even bottle the energy and use it for later times. They're also stealing the vital bodies of human beings and storing it. So, I mean, they're just doing some really horrific things here that other races just simply wouldn't conceive of doing.
Now, are you familiar with Salvador Fresedo?
No, never heard of him.
Okay, he's a gentleman who proposes, he's a former Jesuit priest who proposes the idea that Colosseum-type sporting events are used to vampire energy off the crowds.
I wouldn't at all be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me in the least.
He said, like, the sacrifice of human beings in some ancient civilizations here on Earth was a form of belief system that was set up for these beings to vampire energy off of.
I wouldn't be surprised at that either.
Okay. Now,
war, our wars here, it's the exact same thing. And to all of your viewers, I'm going to give you some homework. It is an absolute must that you go out and get the book, The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. It is an excellent introductory book that will bring you right up to speed with what's going on. It is over 80% accurate with the information in there, and I strongly suggest that people read it. It's excellent.
And the 20% that isn't accurate revolves around what type of ideas?
Around the soul and the being that we know as Jesus, which I'm not going to go into.
Okay. Now, how are we doing on time here? Do you still have some more time?
Well, we've come here an hour so far. Well, we'll continue.
Okay, you let me know when you need to break. How are the renegade Zeta Reticulans able to manipulate Earth's most powerful governments into a position of checkmate?
Oh, it's easy. That part was really easy. Number one, their technology is 2,500 years more ahead of us. Number two, because of our greed factor, certain groups of power elite are in touch with them on a physical level. Well, many of them are implanted. Many of them are so implanted that they have now become part of the gray group mind. And the Andromedans no longer consider some of these human beings, Terrans as they call us, human at all anymore. They're nothing but clones for what the Greys want. And they pass down orders, they tell others what to do, and of course the chain of command that we've established on our planet is exactly what's happening. Also, playing on the greed factor, those who are still human, they look at the fact that, well, they're here, they're the rulers, we can still maintain our place of privilege in the world, so we'll form the new priesthood. We'll be the go-between between the workers and the gods, just like we saw in Babylon, in Assyria, Egypt. It's all over again. It's history repeating itself all over again.
Because it's the control factor, the hierarchy is the established mode for these negative civilizations to keep their power structure intact.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's another thing, and there's also one more factor. It is about human beings out for power, selling out their own race.
The world club.
Just selling out the rest of us, the human race, for their moment in glory, for their privilege to be with the gods, so to speak, who are aliens. That's what it is. To have technology that can take them to the moon, to have the technology that can take them to Mars, that will give them the technology to do time travel. They totally sold out a race, our history, everything, for their brief moment in the sun.
Now,
pisses me off.
I'm sure when they look back on their lives afterward, I would assume that they would regret their choice.
I don't know. I don't know.
How will the renegade Zeta Reticulans have to be removed?
It's, if we can create, if humanity makes a real commitment to create an environment of unconditional love and simply refuses to hate or to kill each other and destroy our planet, they'll have to leave because they can't deal with the vibration. If we can't, it's going to take outside intervention to get them out of here. Period.
Are the renegade Zeta Reticulans going to try to deceive humanity with an elaborate religious event they are staging?
The perceived second coming, yes. I have been told to really beware of that they are very capable of playing out the second coming, creating a clone who will look like the image on the Shroud of Turin, which, by the way, was one of their deals. And this soul will have holographic imprints and information regarding all the world's religions. He won't have a soul. And yes, I mean, we've been led down this path of the book of Revelations, that this is God's word. This is the way it has to happen. And you know what? God didn't write the Bible. Man wrote the Bible. Period. ETs didn't write the Bible, but some ETs did tell those souls, those men, what to write. And we have been led down this path where we totally will succumb our free will to become subservient. And I'm not here to offend anybody, but really think about it. Really think about, what we've done and what our history has been. We've been to this place so many times before, and we still haven't gotten it right. And we're still not going to get it right unless we do it as a race and just cut out all the crap. Period.
Now, that leaves me, I'm going to jump a question. Do they have control of the world media?
Greed does. Greed does.
But I don't
know if it's them themselves. Well, the programming is being introduced, and it is mankind that is introducing it to the masses.
So it's the people that are selling out, basically.
That's it. It's the new priesthood.
Okay.
That's where the responsibility lies.
What would be the outcome if human beings believed that renegade Zeta Reticulans were the hope of mankind?
We would know a tyranny and an enslavement that is far beyond anything we could even imagine. To put it just quite bluntly, we'll get we'll never be free again. We'll never be free again. We will be stuck until we're rescued by an outside force. We ourselves will not be able to break free. That's the bottom line. And right now, we have an opportunity. There is a window of time for us to break free, to do it ourselves, to really make this incredible leap ourselves, so that we can have the benefit of taking responsibility for it.
Now, in that passion that you talk with right there, that passion that we have, if we want to break free, should be manifested into the spirit of love?
Yeah, love. That's the bottom line. It's brotherhood. It's knowing that, hey, we're a race. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. We are a race. And we're being messed with in a big way. We're being manipulated in an incredibly audacious way. They're just mocking how stupid we are when we're really not stupid. But nobody will tell the truth. Nobody will come out and say, hey, none of this is right. We would have never meant to live this way. And they have no right to come down here and mess with us the way they've done that. And the real strength in us, in our own permanent evolvement as a race, will come from us standing up, taking a stand and saying, you know what? No way. We're not going to do this. We're not going to destroy ourselves for your enjoyment so you can feed off of us. You have no right to manipulate our governments, to create wars. None of this was right. And that's it. We need to stand up as a race, exercise our free will, and say, you know what? We don't want to live this way anymore. We want to create a real future where our kids will have an opportunity to be whatever they want, to live in an environment that's clean, that's free, where they can have water to drink, where they can go out and eat fruit, where they can play in the dirt without getting radioactively toxic. All of this stuff that we're doing to ourselves.
So the people with weapons, the police, the military people. These people need to be persuaded and persuade themselves that they can lay down their weapons, that they don't need to use them against other human beings, that they can love other human beings, interact with them without a violence or power control type of situation going on.
I'm not saying that there aren't some human beings here that definitely don't have some serious problems. I'm not saying that at all. There are some who do. But the bottom line is, when you look at the whole picture and you go up the ladder, okay, we are not the enemy. The enemy isn't human at all. But it's pushing all our buttons so that we're so busy looking at each other and so neurotic about each other that we're not looking at the real reality here, the real cause, which is another race or races that are here who are totally playing games with us, feeding off our energy and hoping that we destroy ourselves so that they can keep the planet
and
themselves.
Really, let's say who it is again. It's the Orion group.
It's the Orion group. It's a group that is on its way here and now from Alpha Draconis. They're the real culprits behind this whole deal.
Alpha Draconis or Orion, or both those two?
Alpha Draconis, they're the real culprits behind this whole thing.
Above the Orion group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
then there's Orion, the Orion group, then you've got the Greys.
And where did the Giza intelligence fit in here?
They were just a group that were totally independent, that came in and did their own thing. They were perceived as gods, and they played the role out. And they got stuck in it. You know, they got stuck in the ego part of it. We're gods, we can do this, we have all this technology, and they just played it out for all that it was worth.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, at this point, they're not really much of a factor anymore. You know, Giza intelligence, they're not much of a factor at all anymore.
What should a human being do if they encounter a renegade Zeta Reticulan? What would your advice be?
Stand in their truth. If you can't run, stand in your truth and just look at them. If they try to project their thoughts into your head, you just stand firm with who you are and you say, no, you are not coming into my head, you are not taking me over, and you are not going to violate my free will. I don't give a damn who you are. Leave me alone. Period. Because if it's a benevolent, they will not try to do it. They will not try to take you over. They will not try to put crap into your head so they can feed off of your fear. Period.
All right. Excellent.